I want to talk about grammar and connection. And I'm adjusting my glasses. Of course I am. I always adjust my glasses. Excuse me. Okay. So, what I want to just make crystal clear for all of you today is what to say at the beginning of a sentence. Let me just tell you what not to say. Never, ever, ever, ever begin a sentence with these are the worst words to begin a sentence with. Never begin a sentence saying the words to be. Never. Because, first of all, that is so grammatically incorrect, I can't even begin to tell you. You just don't do that. That is not, where is it written? Where is it? Excuse me, I need to get up and pull up my notes here. Okay. I had mixed for lunch. Okay. Okay, I had a garlicky pasta chicken dish with tomatoes on top. So, tomato relish or something. But so anyway, so where is it written that it makes sense? Where is it written that it is a commonality? Well, I don't think it's written anywhere, any place, any site, any novel, any story. No, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. And by the end of this video, I will probably be feeling very impure. And when I feel impure, I have to go back through all the files and adjust. Will probably be the case. Oh gosh, I just want things to be just perfect. And when I use the word perfect, I know what perfection is. Perfect, in my neck of the woods, being everything makes sense. Everything should be. If I read the video or watch the video, I can focus on what is actually being said, what the information is, what the value of that video, what the value of that content that is being shared and put out. And I'm not distracted by something else. Like I thought, have a certain state of mind that I was in while doing it, or how I felt, or just something that I said, or the way that I was presenting myself, how I was talking, etc., etc. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, to be or not to be. That's Hamlet. Let's just start there. To be or not to be. I was little and there was an act thing that I did where my parents were out in the backyard and I was coming out and I was about to do like a little acting scene. I think it was like Snow White. And then, I came out, I had all my stuff set up, and then I just decided, nope, no, screw this. We're not doing this. And then I ended up titling the video To Be or Not to Be. So that's what comes to mind with that anyway. That's as much substantial information I can kind of get with that. I'm sorry. I hope and pray that all that I have to give is not narrow-minded and Mercury and Taurus only knowing so much and having, you know, very specific and pinpointed information that's so finite. Like I'm so conscientious and worried that I have only finite information. I want to be infinite. Yet I want to know, okay, here's what I need to say. This is what I need to focus on. These are the boundaries here. There are boundaries. There are lines, that you need to address your points and be clear about them and not get off topic. So if I had my, ideal chart, I would probably have my Gemini Sun, Moon in Taurus, Mercury direct in Gemini, not retrograde. Because that's like, when Mercury is retrograde in Gemini, you might as well be going on a roller coaster, even when you're not. It's wild, it's turbulent, it's intense, it is, very chaotic energy, let me tell you. Because if you think about Gemini, it's, the mutable energy, very kind of, jacked up energy. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying, sort of follow along with what I was talking about. Hamlet. Now, to begin a sentence with the word, and when I say that, I don't mean, it's not black and white. It's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And I used a realistic analogy. But, I might come up with my own analogies here. When the form is limited, you have to break out of that and be creative. Now, like I discovered after a certain point that the quantity of information that I knew was not enough. And I needed more. It didn't come from the information that I'd memorized, but just my mind and my creativity and my imagination. Now, to begin a sentence with to be, I'm going to be, I guess to say to be in the present moment is to be at peace. Now, even when I say that, that is theoretical, that is broad, that is without experience, that is very air and missing water, but sophisticated air, and as much as I hate to throw anyone under the bus, that is Teal Swan's Gemini Sun, Aquarius Moon, and several planets in the sign of Gemini, and North Node in Gemini, I should add. Do not believe what you see in the Deep End documentary. She has several videos where she debunks that, and it makes her look very malefic, cold, arrogant, dark-sided millennial. It really puts her in a very bad light of being an icebox. And she is not an icebox. But some of that information that you're saying needs transcending. And maybe someday that will become one of my pet peeves of mine. When I hear all this information that sounds so intellectual up in the head, and I don't hear someone's style of going about it, which has substance. Like, okay, boom, boom, boom. This is what I can remember. This is what I can take away from this. This is what I can learn. There is depth. There is richness. There is, heart in what you're saying. And the intellectual stuff can only take you so far. This is the truth. And there are a lot more people that are more Gemini, because I have I have Lilith in Gemini. I happen to have my Venus and Mars inside of Gemini. But I have Sagittarius rising, and Gemini is on my descendant. So, if you think I'm very Gemini, well, I can recommend several people that are more Gemini than I am. And it's kind of, not where my ascendant is. My, Sagittarius ascendant. And, if I am very Gemini, I guess I'm a more kind of subtle, Mercury and Taurus. Mercury rules Gemini. Taurus is kind of, earthy, plotting, step-by-step, deliberate, I do want to put more heart and meaning into what I'm saying. And it's more kind of natural and casual and, that kind of thing, rather than the, polish, let's make this sound good, and, all this. Yeah, it's sort of all kind of convoluted to really what I'm saying with this. And I am doing what I call a self-expressatory. And what that means is you are going against yourself. I'm going against myself with what I call Aries South Node logic. And I can point out several examples of this and how this can be fuel to fight a battle. But if I have said this, if I have wrote this out at the beginning of a sentence, or wherever it doesn't make sense, I sincerely apologize, because that's not what I believe in. And another thing, it's one thing to have, you do it, and, you in your own mind think it, and you say it. When you hear somebody else saying the same or similar things the way you do, and you're not a fan, you find it stale, or ho-hum, or tiring, or annoying, or just quirks that you don't like, and you're fed up with it, then it can be a knife that kind of cuts the relationship at worst. But also it can be the cake does not need sprinkles on it. It has icing. It has everything it needs. I don't need to add icing to the cake. So that's the reality. And I happen to have a therapist whom I can really see. You might see people, you might know people who can do the same, who can say kind of the same things as you're saying, and kind of in a same or similar way as you say these specific things in these specific ways. So I could see him beginning sentences with "to be" and getting all intellectual and preaching and lecturing me about spiritual lessons, when I can go online and I can watch stuff, I can read stuff. That is not your job. And I'm not expressing him because obviously, well beyond that, he is a trained therapist, and I happen to know I'm pretty book smart, and I know all those lessons, but I haven't really experienced all those things. I can't, I have to be honest, because You need to take, this is, I have my rising in Sagittarius, my descendant in Gemini. And Gemini is the words, the data, the information. Sagittarius is the wisdom, how you are actually experiencing your life, and how are you, growing because of that. And that is what I'm rising into. Gemini, I'm falling away from. Sagittarius, I'm rising into. And so, and yeah, so a therapist is not to do that. Is not supposed to do that. And, actually, day one, he did say very clearly, I'm not here to tell you what to do in your own life. I'm not here to, preach to you or give you advice because I can't control that. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. When you see somebody whom you think could say things in a similar way as you can, and, those same things and in a similar way as you can, that person better not do that. If and it depends. Is it a negative or is it a positive? It could, depends upon what you're actually saying. So yeah, I can go on and find, all this information. I am not signing up for this to hear all this intellectual stuff. I'm signing up for this so that I can heal and, so it can help me. The experience of it can help me in my life. So, that was one thing. Now, the other thing that I just want to point out real quick before I just sign off is this morning on perhaps the most obnoxious app there is, TikTok. And just so you know, I am on TikTok. Why am I on TikTok? Well, why is other people that I follow on? I mean, why not? It's an option. That doesn't mean, falling down the rabbit hole. You kind of need to rise above the fray and, have some discretion and discernment and discipline the 3 Ds with the app itself. I did receive a comment saying, well, you have great ideas, but I don't think that sounds like an actual sentence. I watched the recording, and boom, it was not unprojectile ho-hum, but because I was the one who was saying it, I was the one who was watching it, well, that is kind of that wrinkle to that. It was just a little short video about labor being all about peace, harmony, and brushing things under the rug, not to rock the boat. And I remember saying there was a pause. To be. I said the words to be. It sounded bad, didn't look very good. I deleted it and made another video. I certainly don't want to be a person who, begins sentences like that, nor do I want anyone to be that person, because it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. And, I would really catch anyone who says that and, correct them and clarify with them and stop them a lot, when they're saying what they're saying, and say, oh, no, you don't begin a sentence like that. Or, the other thing, I was walking around, and this is, easier to talk about because it is real life, and it kind of dusts in the wind, it kind of, like soap bubbles, you see it and it's gone. I'm out of time. Okay, thanks for watching.